You made it to the gate, boarding pass in hand, maybe a latte too. You survived TSA, found your seat, and now you're settling in, thinking the hard part's over. But flying isn't always what it seems. Because behind every smooth takeoff is a stack of secrets airlines would rather you didn't notice. From oxygen masks that run out way sooner than you'd think, to that fresh coffee brewed with water you might not even wash your hands with. And yeah, we're going there. In this video, we're unpacking the flight secrets they don't announce over the intercom. The stuff that could save you time, money, or at the very least, a nasty stomach bug. And stay with me till the end, because once you know what really happens at 35,000 feet, you'll never board a plane the same way again. And hey, if you love smart travel hacks that airlines hope you never find out, hit that subscribe button. Global Flow's got you covered. You've seen it in every safety demo. In the event of cabin pressure loss, masks will drop from the ceiling, place it over your nose and mouth, and breathe normally. Easy enough, right? What they don't usually mention is this: those masks only supply oxygen for 12 to 15 minutes. That's by design, not a flaw. Sounds terrifying, but it's actually by design. See, at cruising altitude, the air's way too thin to breathe. So if something goes wrong, the pilot's job is to dive fast. Not in a panic, but in a controlled descent to get you to a breathable altitude, usually below 10,000 feet. And that takes just a few minutes. The mask isn't there to keep you comfy. It's there to keep you conscious. Without it, you've got maybe 30 seconds before hypoxia kicks in. Your vision blurs, you get dizzy, and then lights out. That's why the second those masks drop, you don't grab your phone, you don't look around, you put it on fast. It's one of those moments where knowing what to do immediately can literally keep you awake for your own survival. You're mid-flight, feeling a little sleepy. The beverage cart rolls up and the flight attendant smiles. Coffee? Tea? Sounds harmless? Cozy, even. But before you say yes, here's a little behind-the-scenes truth. That hot drink probably isn't made with bottled water. It's made with whatever's in the plane's onboard water tank. And that tank? Yeah, it's not exactly sparkling clean. Multiple EPA studies have found bacteria, including coliform, in water from aircraft tanks. Flight attendants know this. That's why many of them bring their own tea bags or avoid the hot drinks altogether. The gross part? Those tanks aren't cleaned every flight. Not even close. Unless you're flying with a top-tier airline that specifically uses bottled water, that hot drink probably came from a warm, moist tank that's been sitting there for days, maybe longer. So yeah, you might be sipping tea brewed with water you wouldn't even want to wash your hands with. If that sounds a little too mystery soup for your liking, do what seasoned travelers do. Fill up your own reusable bottle before boarding. Or stick to sealed drinks like juice, soda, or even better, ginger ale. We'll get to that one in a bit. There's something about airports that makes a burger and fries at 9 a.m. feel totally reasonable. You're about to sit for hours, so why not fuel up, right? Well, not so fast. Digestion at 35,000 feet doesn't play by the usual rules. Cabin pressure drops, the air gets drier, and your body has to work harder for oxygen, all of which slows your digestion way down. So if you just polished off a big meal before boarding, don't be surprised when you start to feel bloated, sluggish, or stuck in a tight seat wishing you wore stretchy pants. And if your food was salty or carbonated, even worse. Hello, gas. Goodbye, comfort. Ask any flight crew. They've seen it. Passengers shifting, unbuckling, rubbing their stomachs mid-air because that pre-flight feast is now sitting like a brick. So what's the better move? Eat light. Think a sandwich, some fruit, maybe a granola bar. Skip the heavy sauces, greasy food, and fizzy drinks. Bonus tip, bring your own healthy snack in case the in-flight meal looks suspiciously beige. Smart eating before takeoff can mean the difference between a tolerable flight and one where you're counting down the minutes until landing with a stomach that's staging a rebellion. You're staring at the drink cart. Water? Boring. Soda? Too sweet. Wine? Maybe, but it's 10 a.m. Then you spot it. Ginger ale. Wait, ginger ale? Who drinks that outside of being sick? Actually, a lot of frequent flyers do. And not just because it's a grandma beverage. There's science behind it. See, when you're flying, your taste buds go a little numb. The dry air, the cabin pressure, the constant hum, it all dulls your ability to taste sweet flavors. That's why some drinks taste flat in the air. But ginger ale, it holds up. It's got that sharp bite, that hint of spice, and an umami kick that actually cuts through the sensory fog. One study even found that umami flavors, like ginger, become more pronounced on planes, while sugary ones fade. And the bonus? Ginger's a natural stomach soother. So if you're feeling a little queasy, it might be the one drink that actually helps you feel better, without caffeine or questionable water tank origins. Just one note, skip the ice. Airplane ice often comes from the same water system as the coffee. Stick with the cold can, twist the tab, sip like a pro. Next time someone smirks at your choice of ginger ale, just smile. You're not drinking old school, you're drinking smart. It folds down so neatly. You unwrap your snack, maybe rest your phone there, even lean your head down for a quick nap. Seems harmless enough. Turns out, that tray table is one of the dirtiest surfaces on the entire plane. And yes, we're talking dirtier than the actual toilet flush button in the lavatory. Why? Because while bathrooms are required to be cleaned and checked between most flights, tray tables often aren't. Quick turnarounds mean the crew barely has time to reset the cabin, let alone disinfect every surface. Apparently, the tray table is the go-to spot for snacks, naps, and the occasional diaper change. Germs? Consider them part of the in-flight experience. So, unless you want to share bacteria with whoever sat in your seat before you, here's your move. Bring a sanitizing wipe. Give that thing a good clean before you even think about using it for food, tech, or your face. 5 seconds of wiping could save you from spending your trip nursing a stomach bug you picked up from a stranger's leftover sandwich crumbs. And if you don't need it, maybe just don't open it. Ah, the window seat. The view, the wall to lean on, the perfect spot for zoning out with a podcast. You tuck your jacket behind your head, get cozy against the wall, and that's where things go sideways. Because that smooth plastic window frame, it's been touched, leaned on, sneezed toward, and maybe even drooled on by hundreds of other passengers before you. The uncomfortable truth? That surface almost never gets disinfected between flights. Some surfaces get wiped, others get forgotten. Guess which category your window seat wall falls into. Think about it. People close and open the shades, use the window to steady themselves mid-turbulence, or just zone out with their face pressed against it. And if you're on a red-eye flight, let's just say some passengers get a little too comfortable up there. So unless you brought your own disinfectant and a pillow barrier, maybe don't treat the window like your personal headrest. It's not a hotel wall, it's a communal contact zone. Want the view? Enjoy it. But maybe don't nap on it. You board a long-haul flight. It's chilly. The flight attendant hands you a neatly folded blanket in plastic wrap. Seems clean, right? Not always. Here's what most passengers don't know. Unless it's a brand new flight or a high-end carrier, those blankets and pillows, they might have just been refolded from the last flight, used, rebagged, and handed right back out. Some flight attendants have quietly admitted that if a blanket looks unused, it often gets a quick inspection, a tidy fold, and shoved into a new plastic wrap. No washing involved. And if the last person had a cold, or worse, well, now you're snuggling with their leftovers. And let's be honest, who hasn't sneezed, coughed, or wiped their mouth during a red eye, and then casually balled up that blanket at the end? So, what's the better plan? Bring your own. A lightweight travel blanket or a big scarf can go a long way. Pair it with a neck pillow or a compressible travel pillow you know is clean, and you've just created your own little sanctuary at 35,000 feet. Because comfort is great, but clean comfort, even better. It's one of the first things you reach for once you sit down. The pocket right in front of you. Perfect for your phone, snacks, book, maybe a water bottle. What you're reaching into, though, is basically the plane's junk drawer, and it almost never gets cleaned between flights. Flight attendants have found everything in there. Dirty tissues, crumbs, old receipts, empty snack wrappers, used diapers. Yep, diapers. One flight attendant called it the nastiest spot on the whole plane. And unlike tray tables or lavatories, those pockets rarely get more than a quick glance during cleanup. Which means if the last person stuffed their gum wrapper, used napkin, or mystery sandwich into that pocket, you might be setting your granola bar right on top of it. So here's your move. Bring a small travel pouch or sling bag for your essentials. Phone, earbuds, hand sanitizer, snacks, all in one clean spot within reach. That way, nothing you plan to eat or touch repeatedly ends up marinating in last week's bacteria buffet. Because just like with hotel remotes and gas pump handles, some surfaces are best admired from a distance. Most passengers either turn it off immediately or fiddle with it until it barely blows. After all, nobody wants cold air blasting in their face, right? What frequent flyers understand, though, is this. That little air nozzle above your seat, it's not just for comfort, it's one of your best defenses against getting sick on a plane. Here's how it works. When you turn on the air vent and angle it to flow downward, it creates a mini air curtain around you. That constant stream of air helps deflect airborne particles, like sneezes or cough droplets, from floating into your breathing zone. Doctors and infection control experts actually recommend keeping that airflow going, especially during boarding and meal service when people are moving around, talking, and breathing heavier. And don't worry, it's not just recycled air. Modern aircraft use HEPA filters that clean the air every few minutes. So that breeze, it's filtered, fast-moving, and surprisingly helpful. Bonus tip, if you're really trying to avoid catching anything, combine the air vent with a well-fitted mask during high traffic times. It's not paranoia, it's just stacking the odds in your favor. So, go ahead, reach up, adjust the nozzle, and give yourself that invisible shield. Your immune system will thank you later. You board the plane, settle into your seat, blink a few times, and suddenly your eyes feel like sandpaper. If you're wearing contact lenses on a flight, especially a long one, your eyes are in for a rough ride. Here's why. Airplane cabins are incredibly dry. We're talking humidity levels that can dip below 20%, drier than most deserts. And when the air is that dry, your contacts start clinging to your eyes like cling wrap on a dry sponge. The result? Redness, irritation, blurry vision, or that awful, I can't tell if it's my contact or my eyeball that's stuck feeling. It gets worse if you fall asleep with them in. Even if you usually nap in lenses with no problem, flying changes the game. Less blinking, less oxygen, more discomfort. That's why most frequent flyers and a lot of flight attendants switch to glasses during travel. It's just easier on your eyes. No dryness, no awkward mid-flight lens removal, no tiny mirror in a bumpy lavatory while turbulence turns your contact case into a hazard zone. Pro tip, pack a travel-sized bottle of eye drops made for contact wearers and stash your glasses in your carry-on. Once you're in the air, swap them out. Your eyes will stay happier and clearer through landing. Most travelers pick their seats based on legroom, window views, or how fast they can get off the plane. But if your top priority is safety, the back of the plane deserves a second look. Yep. Rear seats, especially those near the aisle or a few rows from the emergency exits, have shown slightly higher survival rates in multiple crash investigations. It's not dramatic, it's statistical. Why? In many accidents, the front of the aircraft absorbs most of the impact. The tail section, while bumpy and loud, tends to stay more structurally intact. That extra buffer can make a real difference in survivable crashes. Now, let's be clear. Air travel is one of the safest forms of transportation. Serious incidents are rare, but if you're someone who gets nervous in the air, choosing a seat further back could offer a little peace of mind. And one more thing, proximity to exits matters. Studies show passengers seated within 5 rows of an exit are significantly more likely to evacuate safely in emergencies. So if you're scanning the seat map, think beyond the drink cart. It's not about fear. It's about being just a little more prepared, because in the rare event something does go wrong, where you sit could mean everything. You've heard them 100 times. Seat backs up, tray tables stowed, window shades open, and the ever-glorious seatbelt sign. Most of us barely pay attention. Some even fake sleep through the safety demo. But here's what airlines don't explain enough. Every one of those tiny, boring rules, It's not about control. It's about survival. Take the dimmed cabin lights during takeoff and landing. It's not mood lighting. It's training your eyes. If there's an emergency and power cuts out, you'll be able to see immediately without your pupils having to adjust. That could shave off crucial seconds. Tray tables? If they're down during a rough landing, they can block your escape path, slam into your legs, or trap the person next to you. Same goes for reclined seats. They make it harder to evacuate fast. And those window shades? Flight attendants need to see outside in a flash. Is there fire on one side? Debris? A clear path to the slide? The only way to know is by looking, quickly. Even airplane mode, while not life or death, isn't just superstition. If 150 phones are all scrambling to find signal at once, they can interfere with cockpit communication. Not enough to crash the plane, but enough to muddy a critical moment. Oh, and that tiny hole at the bottom of your window? That's called a bleed hole. It regulates cabin pressure between window panes. It's doing a job quietly, so you don't have to. So next time you hear a flight attendant ask you to raise your seat back, don't roll your eyes. Just know that small action could be the difference between a smooth exit and a blocked one. You're cruising at 35,000 feet mid-movie when suddenly, flash! A streak of light zips across the window, followed by a faint pop or flicker. Your stomach flips. Was that lightning? Yep, and here's the kicker. It's completely normal. In fact, commercial aircraft get struck by lightning all the time. Statistically, about once per year, per plane. And they're designed to handle it, like literally engineered with lightning in mind. The aluminum shell of the plane acts like a giant Faraday cage. That means the electrical current flows around the cabin, not through it. It enters at one point, travels along the exterior, and exits somewhere else, without ever reaching the people or electronics inside. So no, the plane doesn't drop. The engines don't shut off. The Wi-Fi might flicker for a second, but that's about it. And here's the cool part. Pilots are trained for this. Aircraft systems are checked after every strike, and if there's even a hint of damage, maintenance teams don't let the plane leave the ground again until it's fully cleared. So while it might feel dramatic in the moment, for the aircraft, it's just another Tuesday. Bottom line, lightning looks wild, but your plane won't even flinch. Flying at 35,000 feet feels routine, movies, snacks, maybe a nap. But your body, it's working harder than it lets on. Even though the cabin is pressurized, it's not pressurized to sea level. It's more like standing on a mountain 6,000 to 8,000 feet high. And that lower pressure means less oxygen with every breath. That's why people often feel extra tired, dizzy, or even get mild headaches after a flight. Add in the dry air, low humidity, and the fact that you're sitting still for hours, your blood circulation slows down. You might notice swollen feet, stiff joints, or the feeling of being weirdly bloated because gases inside your body actually expand at high altitudes. Yep, that's why your jeans feel tighter mid-flight. So how do you fight back? Start with water. Lots of it. Skip the alcohol, skip the soda, and bring a refillable bottle to keep sipping. Wear compression socks if you're prone to swelling, and stand up or stretch every hour or so. Just a quick walk to the lav can do wonders. And finally, wear loose, breathable clothes. That cute but tight outfit might look great at the gate, but 6 hours in, your body will beg for something comfier. You can't change the altitude, but you can help your body handle it like a pro. You finally escape your seat, shuffle down the aisle, and close the lavatory door behind you. A moment of peace, or so you think. What most travelers don't realize, that bathroom door can be opened from the outside. Yep, even when you've locked it. There's usually a small latch hidden just under the lavatory sign on the door. Flip the sign up, slide the latch underneath, and click, the door opens. Why? Safety. If someone passes out, locks themselves in, or stays inside too long, flight attendants need a way in. Fast. It's not about invading privacy, it's about protecting lives. But still, it's a little unsettling to realize your private time isn't exactly secured. So if you're fixing your hair, changing clothes, or FaceTiming your cousin from 35,000 feet, maybe keep it brief. Nobody's gonna bust in without a reason, but just knowing that latch exists might change how long you linger in there. In the air, privacy is a luxury, and that little plastic lock, it's more of a suggestion than a guarantee. You're at home, checking your airline app. Your flight's delayed 2 hours. Great, you've got time to relax, maybe finish that laundry, maybe squeeze in one more episode. Tempting? I know. But seasoned travelers will tell you, even when your flight's delayed, it's still smart to head to the airport on time. Here's why. First, delays aren't always final. Sometimes they get resolved faster than expected. A maintenance issue clears up, weather shifts, or a replacement crew shows up early. When that happens, the airline can move departure forward again with little warning. If you're not already at the gate, you're out of luck. Second, being at the airport gives you options. You can rebook at the counter, talk to an agent in person, get on standby lists, or even ask for meal or hotel vouchers if the delay drags out. But if you're still home in sweatpants, you're just refreshing an app with zero leverage. And here's the brutal part. If you miss the flight, even one that was delayed because you showed up too late, that's on you. The airline doesn't owe you a rebooking, and it could mess up any connecting flights or round-trip tickets you had lined up. So no matter what your app says, don't play games with timing. Delays can disappear faster than you think, and showing up early is still the safest way to stay in control. So, next time you board a plane, you won't just be another passenger in 23B. You'll know why the tray table's not your lunch plate, why that ginger ale tastes oddly amazing, and why getting to the airport early, yes, even when it's delayed, is still the smart move. You'll know how to avoid the germiest spots, how to treat your body right at altitude, and which rules actually matter when the cabin lights dim. In short, you'll fly smarter, you'll feel better, and you'll probably avoid at least one awkward bathroom situation. If this video made you say, "Wait, what?" even once, do me a favor. Hit that like button, share it with your favorite travel buddy, and subscribe to Global Flow for more tips the airlines aren't putting in the pamphlet. Got a weird in-flight experience or a travel hack you swear by? Drop it in the comments. I'd love to hear it. Thanks for watching. Now go pack your disinfecting wipes, skip the airplane coffee, and own that next flight like a pro. See you in the skies.